Earlier this week, we got a surprise announcement for the world premiere of Flesh and Blood's next set, part of the Mistveil, to happen in Tokyo this May. Despite very little information about the set itself, other than the name and the key art, it hasn't stopped the excitement and the speculation. Ninjas, illusionists, wizards, runeblades? Illusionist wizards? Now, while all of that is cool, and hey, let's be honest, us nerds love that speculation, one interesting thing caught my attention. The world premiere itself will again be sealed, no surprise there, but this time with 8 packs as opposed to the normal 6 packs. So let's chat about what this potentially indicates, both about the product itself as well as the set makeup. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, my Flesh and Blood friends. Welcome back to Dice Commando, and go again, a fabulous cast. And thanks for tuning in for kind of it's called an ad hoc cast, so to speak, responding to the announcement earlier this week about part of the Mistveil, the next set for Flesh and Blood that'll be coming out probably late May, maybe early June by the time we get through all of the, all the things that you got to get through. But either way, later this spring. It's on the way and we know what it looks like. You can see the key art right here that I've been using as a backdrop. It's pretty sweet. There are certain implications and themes. I mean, it's almost certainly ninja just with the bamboo and all the stuff like that. But there's certainly implications with moons and stuff like that and the implications of wizards. And it wouldn't be a huge surprise if another wizard was coming. Is this the all Arcane set they were talking about? Probably not. I don't think so with wizards. But again, we're not here to do the full-on, we're going to do a little bit of speculation, because why wouldn't we? That's the fun part of it. But we're not going to go full-on speculation. Instead, I kind of want to work off of facts, because as I mentioned, one of the things that is very fascinating to me out of this whole thing is the fact that it was mentioned that there's an 8-card sealed, okay? There's a lot of implications from that. Now, I want to be clear, I'm just getting back from work. I actually was jotting some notes down in between meetings today while I was wolfing down my salad. I know I'm an old man, and that's the fun of it these days. So let's just go right into the sexy, the stuff I was talking about. Right? For 10,000 years, our ancestors have walked the path well traveled, like the tiger stalking its prey. Well, that sounds pretty ninja to me. Like the snake hiding in the murky water. Could be assassin. Still seems probably ninja-y. Like the waning faces of the moon. Oh, that screams wizard, which is terrifying. The last thing we need is another wizard to just punch us in the face the next year and a half. But I know there's a lot of people excited about that. This is really exciting. Could it be elemental? Probably not, based on the history and the way they've been going, but could be. The truth lies beyond the mist. Hot. All right, so there's that part of it. And again, you can read James's thing. When I was in Queenstown, I actually took my tour of the LSS facility from James. He told us in no uncertain terms that he believes this will be the best limited experience Flesh and Blood has ever had. Now, I do want to preface that with the fact that James has said that before, right? Not many, but a couple times before James has said that, but most of the time I believe it's delivered. I'm not going to promise every time, but James was very excited about this, and there's no reason not to believe him. So I think that this is very, very, very exciting. So in the vein of that, let's pop over to kind of what has me interested. So I've already zoomed down on what you see right now across the screen, which is the relevant portion of the world premiere. Okay, again, this is the article at the bottom of, this is the bottom of this page. You can click on calling event details, and then about quarter way down the page, you get to the relevant part here. Okay, so what I'm interested about is, you will notice that this is the world premiere on May 17th. All the, it's 10,000 yen. I don't know what the current conversion rate is there, which I should, because I deal with Japanese vendors all the time, but I don't know what that is today. I know roughly what that is, but I'm not going to misquote. So anyway, here's the big part. Okay, players receive 8 booster packs to construct a deck of exactly 30 cards. So there's 2 things going on there, and we're going to unpack it. And like I said, this is where Daddy needs his notes to make sure that we're getting into this. So 8 packs is certainly a divergence from what we consider our normal. Now, I want to be clear about something. This is not the first time that we've seen a divergence from that normal 6. We saw it in Evo, right, in Bright Lights, but that was the all Mechanologist set, and inherently that made a lot of sense to everybody because you had all the cards were basically playable. They didn't need generics. They didn't. Everything was technically playable. So it made sense that you lowered the card pool. Otherwise, we were going to be trying to boost fatigue each other for an hour and a half. I mean, I'm being sarcastic and a little, but you get my point. So this is very interesting. So to start this, I want to ask ourselves the question, right? Or I want to float the question, why would we need extra packs? And what I can come up with is the direct answer is because you need more cards, Andrew, right? That's the answer. But there are 2 ways I think you can go with the answer to the answer, which is 1, maybe they're smaller booster packs. That's very interesting. And the reason that I go there is, now I don't necessarily, I'm just saying, I'm not saying they're going to be smaller booster packs. Just stick with me. But if they're smaller booster packs, which I wouldn't hate because I just opened I opened an irresponsible amount of heavy hitters because I love the set and I wanted stuff. Okay. I have a bunch of boxes full of common chaff. I wouldn't hate smaller packs and streamlining that and making less. We understand the reason that the booster packs have so much stuff in it because it has to be ready for draft and all this stuff. Okay, but they could draft 4 packs instead of 3. Whatever, right? So if they have smaller packs, increases your ratio. You're still paying the same amount for it, but you're creating less waste. I'm on board with that. Okay with that. Could be a thing. The more likely scenario is that this set has less crossover between the draft silos, I guess is a better way to say it, right? So if you think back the last several sets, with the exception of Mechanologist, but even so, they've had 3 silos, right, so to speak, right? By and large, in Flesh and Blood, historically, those silos have been classes. Obviously, in Evo, it was playstyles within the classes. And you've obviously had, and generally within those silos, there's like 2 angles to take. So I guess there's technically 6 silos, but it's really 3 silos. You understand what I'm driving at, right? In heavy hitters, for example, there was 6 heroes, but there were 3 classes. But then there was the crossover, right? So there was Warrior, Guardian, and Brute, but you had Warrior Guardian, you had Warrior Brute, you had Guardian Brute. That's it. Yeah. Right. So you get it. You have not only those, sub silos, and then you obviously have the generic pool. Now, I'm not saying there's not going to be generics in this set. It's not what I'm saying at all. But what if they are doing 4 classes and there's just no way to really realistically do, or maybe they're doing 5 classes, right? Whatever it may be. It seems to me that there's probably no realistic way for them to have done those sub silos or whatever, right? Maybe there's 6 heroes and they each play a different way. They're all different classes. Who knows? Hopefully you understand what I'm driving at here, right? Ultimately, the reason you need these more cards, I believe, is because each one of these has less crossover, and thus they've determined that you're going to need more packs in order to be able to build a viable strategic deck out of that. And that also fits into the second part of this. Again, the highlighted part I have down there below. Players receive 8 booster packs to construct a deck of exactly 30 cards. Exactly 30 cards has not been a thing, right? An exact limit on the high side, I should say, has not been a thing in the past, right? It's been you have to sit down with at least 30 cards. Sometimes you got to put a bobble in there, whatever it may be. But you have to sit down with at least. There's been no max. This time there's a max, which again, I think feeds into my argument for number 2, which is if you just hit the nuts or something with your 8 packs, you could potentially sit down with 45 cards or something like that, right? So they're trying to cap that in terms of the fatigueness variability to fatigue or fatigue susceptibility. Either way you want to say that. Again, hopefully you understand what I'm trying to drive at. They're trying to limit the upside potential of having 8 packs worth of cards. So that's where, again, there's a couple steps of assumption there. I completely grant you that, and I'd love to hear your opinion in the comments. Hopefully you've typed it already. But where I'm going there is I believe that instead of necessarily dropping the product cards per pack down, probably this set is going to be it's going to have very different play styles that don't have a lot of crossover. And, to that point, it certainly then, and here's into the speculation piece, I think it certainly is reasonable to make the jump, because if you compare it, I think Ninja's like a lock-in for this, right? And I think Wizard's a lock-in for this. And if you think about those, it's not like you're going to have, hopefully we don't have a lizard winger. Sorry. Hopefully we don't have a ninja wizard, because that would be horrible. And besides, they've already said that Emperor was going to be the dual class. So I'm kind of going out on the weeds there. Where I'm driving at is Wizard and Ninja don't exactly share similar card pools in many senses at all, right? Except for the fact that they both like blues, but then again, we're assuming that's a Kano side, right? But you assume that they would like blues from a blocking Arcane. So anyway, right. That's my point, is if you have someone like Wizard, you're not going to get a lot of shared card pool there. So you probably need more to make it viable. Okay. Now, I think the next and probably last portion of this is the product. I did want to talk about kind of the product of it. So I already mentioned, it is possible that we could get smaller booster packs. I don't think that would be the end of the world. We've seen that before in terms of the expansion set packs, but they didn't really need to worry about draftability. They certainly didn't need to worry about how to handle the tokens and stuff. And then remember, of course, that the expansion slot thing, which is the new best node method, that it's the new thing they're doing going forward. That's included in the token slot. So I don't see how they can really take that away. So they'd have to go to maybe a 12 card booster pack or something like that. But ultimately, if you really think about just the math on this 24 card pack, and I do want to say, no, there's no sell sheet up yet. Sell sheet's going to answer a lot of these questions for us. But hey, you're going to speculate on what's going to be in it and all the myth. I'm going to speculate on the product side. Okay. One of the things that's daunting about an 8 card sealed is not just the apparent price, right? Maybe the smaller packs, lower prices, whatever. I don't know, right? But even if you assume $4 a booster pack, it's a little more expensive. It's a little more daunting to have to sit down with 8 packs are sealed, but it's also harder for the stores, because think about it. Out of a box under 6 cards sealed, you have 4 players that can play, 4 sealed players, or 8 draft players that can play out of a single box, right? And then you can extrapolate that to case and so on in terms of what you need to run an armor event or whatever. Well, now it's 3 out of a box, right? 3 sealed players out of a box. Correlate that to draft. Assuming draft is 3, well, I would assume draft has to be 4 in this case. I mean, we haven't seen it. Actually, hold on. Actually, because they're probably calling booster draft. I didn't think ahead on this one. Let's see, Acer booster packs. On day 2, all booster drafts will be conducted. It doesn't say, but it doesn't say how many packs. Yeah, it doesn't say how many packs for draft. All right. So that's up in the air. I don't know, right? Maybe it's, if you're drafting, I think it might not be, again, if you're drafting normal size packs and you have these more distinct silos, I don't think that's necessarily as big of a risk in draft, but it could be in field. And I mean, it's obvious that there's some concern they have. I don't think they're doing this just to sell and move more product, right? There's a reason they're having you be sealed for 8, because they're going to have to, just think about it logistically. They're going to have to ship stores more product for those, and I'm talking LGSs. They're going to have to ship LGSs more product for their pre-release in order to feed the 32 or the, kits usually 16 people. So they have to ship them more to feed 16 and 32 or whatever, how many kits they get. So, this all tracks, right? Or does a box, and then again, that's the other part of the box where I was going with that is, does the box then jump up to, instead of 24 packs, to go to 32 packs? Probably not, right? But maybe. Again, I'm not saying I have the answers. You can hopefully see why I'm excited about this in terms of the change. The likelihood of LSS changing their product structure for this one set is low. Probably just deal with the fact that you have to ship extra product, and stores would need extra product to help them sell more boxes. It's not a bad thing, right? From their perspective. They're just trying to make the set playable. And again, to be clear, in the long run, if there's no change, like if draft is still 3 packs, because that's still manageable, then in the long run, it's no issue. It's just for sealed, because I don't think that many stores in the grand scheme of the world, I'm saying, play sealed that far after release. So it's really just the initial wave. They have to worry about pre-releases and stuff like that, maybe release weekends, to where you should have a dearth of product anyway. So anyway, I feel like I've exhausted. I just want to make sure I hit all of my points here. Yeah, I think I have, right? And again, it wouldn't be a bad thing if they did end up decrease, because do the quick math, right? So you have it was an 11 card booster, or it's 10 card booster, but I'm assuming because of this you would need tokens, and again they want their, so it would end up being like a 12 card booster there versus a 14 card, so 16 card. I mean, there's really not a huge motivation for them to mess with pack size, so it seems unlikely. It seems that's probably, I've kind of talked myself into this while talking to you. I think likely it's going to end up being the same pack size, same box size. It'll just change for sealed and probably not draft. Yeah. But before we exit, I'll go ahead and shut the thing down. Actually, I'll just flip us over to the key art. Oh, well, I have the key art in the background, so we'll just do that. The big thing here is I really do think that the only reason they're doing, I mean, I think we've talked ourselves through why there probably won't be a massive change in like product style or something like that. Could be, but I don't think there will be. And what it likely means is that the reason they're doing this in sealed is that the play styles are so unique that there's so limited crossover. And I think that from that we can extract that Wizard is probably a thing. Right now, if you take yourself back to Arc, they had a large generic pool. Arc wasn't necessarily the best. It certainly wasn't the best sealed experience. And again, maybe that's why they're extrapolating that you need more packs or something like that. Again, right? Because that was 4 with 1 Wizard. Wasn't necessarily the best. It was fine, but it wasn't necessarily the best. So maybe they're trying to make it better. Tracks to me. So anyway, hopefully at this point, you've let me know in the comments what you think below. Speculate all you want in terms of who you think's going to be in the set and all that. But I would have to say that based on the 8 packs and all this, I'd say Wizard is probably a lock. And that's very interesting and very scary at the same time. And I mean, Ninja's almost certainly a lock. So we know 2 of the 4 or 5, I would think. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts below. Go Commando.